Well, hello. How the hell are y'all? Today is 12/6. Uh, I will say this. Back around September, early September, I warned everybody to try and watch out for what they call SAD, seasonal depression, and said that society and life in general, as we've allowed it to become, was only going to try and depress the masses to make that a more evident event. Everybody is getting into depression cycles and things like that. But I've also seen a lot of people learn that you can't give everything your energy. So, not that I'm your judge or anything like that, I'm just your reflection. Kudos to those of y'all who are realizing, man, I can't keep making this about nobody but me. Because once I make my life about me, I get to see where everybody else fits. Here's the catch: I get to see what others are giving me a fit. You understand? Crash out. We got too comfortable. That was one of the key words for 2025. I told you people were going to have necessity and need for protection as a guideline. That's what I told you on 2024. And it kind of played out. Everybody's needs got challenged. We got a lot of things taken away. For those of y'all that are in the government system, you lost a lot of your benefits. Hell, for those of y'all that wasn't in the government system, you lost a lot of benefits. Jobs got misplaced, displaced, families, the whole nine. So for those of y'all that are still holding on and in a good space, congratulations. You should learn to always be in a good space. Um, the militant side of me, or I should say the more aware side of me, wants to say that you have to stop staying where you're already placed in danger. It just doesn't make sense. But it's not as easy to, let's just say, um, escape the system, leave the country, whatever you want to call it. You have to have funds or funding and support system to do that, and we've currently allowed ourselves to eliminate most of those things. So make the best of where you're at. Find reasons to maintain your happiness instead of finding reasons not to be sad. There is a difference. Can't teach you that. You have to figure that out on your own. If you are paying attention to what's making you sad and why you can't give it your energy, it's already got your energy. If you're just on a more realistic, not my circus, not my monkeys format, to where you're only paying attention to the things that allow you a better flow, then you have a higher potentiality of surviving the bullshit that we're going through. So this is 12/6. Mathematically, 12/6 produces a 2. 12 over 6 is 2. 2 is your connection. 2025, the year of the snake, the year of knowledge. 2 connected to what you think you know. But again, 2025 is a 9 vibration. 9 is control. 9 is what's making me operate at my strongest capacity. This goes into what you hear me talking about, the battery in the pack theory. The battery in the pack is stronger than the battery plugged into the device. The battery that is plugged into a device has already entered into the field of death. It has an expiration date. The ones in the pack might have an expiration date on the pack, but they still keep all their energy until they're just of no longer of use. Is what I mean to say, until they're no longer of use. But think about it. I'd rather be no longer of use, but kept everything for myself, than to be plugged into something that is using me, killing me, and then when it's done with me, discards me. We got shown that over the last few years, where you see where people, died on the job, and then the job ain't really even give them nothing but a footnote, and then 2 days later got a replacement, and probably had to fight the insurance company or fight whoever to get your benefits. Ain't worth it. But unfortunately, like I said a few minutes ago, this is the system we allowed. Is that it's not as easy as saying, "Man, I know it's a trap," and just stop feeding the trap, because the trap already got you trapped. 12/6, 2, you're already connected. 12, the ritual. 6, your traumas or your foundation. We have placed the ritual over the foundation, so the only thing that is safe is the foundation that taught you your ritual. uh, I could go so many places with that, but I'll just say this. Some of y'all are hateful as shit. Some of y'all are hateful as shit, but so submissive and loving for what's got you entrapped, enthralled, enslaved, bamboozled, and led astray. You got so much anger for others, but so much patience for the system that only taught you systems of stupidity. All disrespect intended. The ritual has already taught you how to think. The only thing you do is think for the ritual, and everything else that requires thought is a trauma. That, my dear folks, is called programming. Henceforth, my old hashtag: the mind is a program, therefore programmable as fuck. What are you reading? Better yet, what's reading you? What is what is programming you? What is telling you how to think, how to move, and now you can't do it for yourself. 12/6/2025. Two types of control. 12/6. Two, the ritual has already taken over the foundation, and now you're under control. This goes into the overseer ideology of once you enslave somebody so much, they'll do everything not to be free. They'll even vote for systems of enslavement. So, two types of control. You have the control that had taught you how to be controlled, and then you have the fear of getting out of control that controls you into staying controlled. What was the common word? Control. That latter part is really the manifestation point of the 5 monkey experiment. The 5 monkeys banana experiment. 5 monkeys placed into a room, banana placed on top of a ladder. Every time the monkeys went up the ladder, the control, the scientists, would spray the monkeys as they tried to climb the ladder to make sure they don't get the banana, and they just kept trying so much to the point to where whenever one monkey would go up, the other monkeys were so tired of being sprayed with water that they would beat the monkey trying to get the banana's ass. Take one of the original monkeys out and replace him with a new monkey. As soon as that new monkey see that banana and try and get it, the other original monkey's gonna beat his ass. Keep taking monkeys out. The newer monkeys that never had the experience of the water will now make sure that they beat the monkey's ass so that they don't get the water without ever even having being punished. You catch that? You don't know the trauma, you just know that you don't want to experience the trauma, so you're already traumatized and under control because you'll do everything not to get that banana, because getting that banana, aka feeding myself, will put me in harm. That is an endangered mindset, and that is where a lot of people are. You're scared to think for yourself because learning more about me might take me away from what told me that I don't need to know. If you really think that this is just strictly about religion, you are so lost. If you really think that what I'm saying is just geared towards Christianity and all these other enslaved religions, you are so lost. Anything that teaches you that you don't need to know what's going on, just do what I say. Holy shit. Problems. Cocktail asks, do you have any formula or way to calculate randomness? You have to. The formula for calculating randomness, in my perspective, is why. Why does there need to be randomness? See, sometimes that's a errant energy of uncertainty that you just want to do because you're scared to be still. A good formula for randomness is fear. Hell, I was talking about this with one of my teenagers yesterday, and he was showing me something where it's a common thing for kids to come with some, I can't say the word stupid, some useless fact, and then give you something that sounds like it might be sensible and knowledgeable, and then turn around and go right back to the tablet and get right back on Fortnite or Roblox. Did you know that a whale is 28 feet long? What is 6 weeks? And they're like, okay, well, thank you for telling me that, but where the fuck that come from? And then by the time you get ready to engage into the conversation with them, the randomness has already left the space, and now they've gone back to status quo. Random. Why? Because the idle mind becomes a playfield. Deterministic is a terminology of finite order. Finite order. Nothing is predetermined until you determine to determine it. That is the propensity for the thought already knew the thinker wanted to think before the thinker created the thought. You can't verify either one. To me, this universe is only yourself in separation trying to determine who you are by going through the experience of creating something from nothing because it didn't value everything. Think about what I just said. The zero was everything, but it didn't understand its value. So to itself, it became nothing until it put something else in front of it. And now everything else it put in front of it became everything. Yet it was nothing without itself. Everything I just said. When you're scared to figure out your own value, but you have to give your value to something else just to try and make yourself feel like you're doing something different or make yourself sound like you're saying something smart, sorry. Make that make sense. The best definition is no definition at all. Nah, that's a falsehood. Zero is already what it is. You can fool yourself into establishing the value with nothing by trying to tell nothing what it is. That's called colonization. Trying to tell something what it is, or that's called alchemy nowadays. When you try and tell something what it is based off of what you want it to be, it's colonization, alchemy, illusionist, liar, domination, deterministic. You can give it many terms. You can put the pig on the wig, but that motherfucker gonna still say. I mean, you put the wig on the pig, but that motherfucker gonna still oink. Nah. That would be the same thing as, not trying to be funny, but that'd be the same thing, like you said, zero is a placeholder. That'd be the same thing as saying that back in the day, the slave was only 3/5 of a human. Yet who was doing all the work? The zero, in the sense of the 10, is carrying the one. But if the one is so used to being carried by the zero, the one loses value for what was holding it in place. Is it a placeholder? Was it a placeholder, or is it really the amplified source? The more zeros you put behind something, the greater what's in the front gets. It's no different than history. He who was up front gets to tell everybody else their value, even when it ain't the truth. Holy shit, 12/6. The ritual over the real foundation will only have you two connected to what's got you fooled. So, the two levels of control, that which is originally lying, and then that which lies to itself. That which is the original liar, and that which is lying to itself. Proper denotes predefinition. Nothing's proper until something determines what order is. Normally, things determine what order is based off of the presets of chaos within their own existence. Holy shit, that's how you get pride. That's how you get privileges and social standards and respectability politics and code switching, shit like that, because you got to perform for what's safe. But why is it safe? Because it keeps something else up front. Holy shit, placeholding. The original lie, that which is up front, the 12. In this 2 analogy, 12/6, the ritual. The ritual is keeping you down below, keeping you holding place. It won't make sense. Randomness just deny the existence, but randomness just deny the existence of God because we can't predict his path. The problem is, why should you have to predict God's path? See, humor me. y'all give God too much, because if God was really concerned with his or her creations, there would be evidence. There would be evidence of the care and concern, not just evidence of the creation. Here's a what if. What if a God created us and no longer wanted us, and now we're left on our own? Go to your children's room and figure that out. Well, goddamn, there's a piece of candy that's been up under this bed for 6 years. Yeah, I know. I was done with it, so I left it there. Again, atheism, theism, polytheism, even as an animist, it really doesn't matter, because it's only a system of invested intent into a belief, whether you're feeling in nature, whether you're feeling in your ancestors, whether you're feeling in Baphomet, whether you're feeling in Lucifer, or whether you're feeling in Sky Daddy, or whether you're feeling in nothing at all. It is still a connotation that I need to place something outside of me to either believe in or not believe in, so that I have something to balance against me. It is. It really is. That we will 100% agree on. You said it feels like something is wrong with us or our world. It is. And this ain't even to buy into the Gnostic version of the Demerge, the imperfect God, or where God created imperfections because of the imperfections of itself. It still don't matter. It don't matter whether we were created by imperfection or perfection. We are here. And to wait on what created you or what did not create you to substantiate up or down means you still lost in the middle. Like, we die even though we don't care. Yeah, but even death is an illusion. Speaking metaphysically, death is an illusion, because you can lose this meat suit but still maintain your perceived consciousness. You can still contact the same people that you see here behind me. I can still contact them. Just can't touch them in most cases. There are materializations. But yeah, but awareness in this realm is preconceived as intelligence. Intelligence does not mean smart. You understand? Like the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, they're aware of information that is pertinent to other information. That's intelligence in this realm, basically knowledge. Awareness is just, I'm aware. Awareness is pre-experience. Intelligence validates experience based off of awareness with the intent of knowledge. If you understand what I mean. So awareness predates all of it. But again, like I said at the beginning, we can't verify whether we're the thought or the thinker. We can't verify whether we are the original source that created a thought, or we're the offshoot of an original source that created a thought and that created us so that we have the capacity to think. But consciousness in the sense of a signal, just to read what you said because it doesn't show up. You said you do feel other people are conscious. Yeah, but levels of conscious. Conscious based off of an intended pre-programmed thought. A killer is conscious, but he already has a pre-programmed thought of killing. A racist is conscious, but he only have a pre-programmed thought of being racist. A homeless person that is starving is conscious, but they now only have a pre-programmed thought of survival. So consciousness is expansive. You can go everywhere with consciousness, but people like to lie themselves and label consciousness as in the supported format that stands up front. Like that bullshit they tried over the last few years, the woke movement needs to be put to sleep. Why? So that the sleepy movement stays awake? Ignorance, privilege, idiocracy rules the day. Idiocracy and privilege and greed and fear rules this planet, but people will call that the conscious movement. Something that if you'll research, every 70, 100 years, there is an age of enlightenment in this damn country since the 1700s. But yet it was the same sick motherfuckers who barely even knew how to wash their ass telling you what enlightenment was. Is that enlightenment, or is that just somebody else? Hell no. Luke, you done lost your fucking mind. You seem like the guy that says the government is real. I'll say that there is a government that governs the government that governs you, govern yourself. That's what I would say. To me, it is cocktail. You said, what if consciousness was like lie, but reflection, and we don't have any central point? I would agree. I would agree that the central point is only an azimuth. An azimuth, you've already shot a destination on a perceived intended result, but you don't know where you began from, so you only pick up from where you become conscious of where you're at. You understand that? One central source. Synaptic firings. Exactly. Exactly. You're reflecting me, and I'm making choices to validate my interpretations of the reflected light, just like you're doing the same thing and Luke's doing the same thing. But here's the problem, we're only making assessments of the light. The light has already been disseminated from the source. See, we didn't need darkness in this analogy. There was a source, it broke itself into light. You know how I saw an article the other day, but let's just use the God particle. But they said something about a new thing that they discovered. When the egg is penetrated by the sperm, there is a burst of light because it's an energetic exchange. Energetic exchange. So, from that energetic exchange of separating or mentally separating yourself, there is a light produced. And if you only chase the light that was the result of separation, you never maintain the source. Holy shit, I see my reflection of myself, but I don't understand what I am. Light. Now I'm going to chase myself and everything I think I am, which means I'm no longer what I was. But that again, substantiate. Humor me. And I'm going to read it, and I'm residence only. If you don't agree with what I'm going to say, that's fine. Your words, cocktail, was I'm scared of it too much whenever I think about like the unknown in this. When you think about things like this, where you're basically facing yourself as source. That's what I call this. This is what I call source theory. You're looking at yourself as the originating source of the signal, not what's lost in the journey. Here, and I'm telling you, my perspective is because I've been there. You have that fear of addressing this because it's a core trauma of facing yourself outside of the illusion. And I'll see if there's verified with this. It becomes something that is not comfortable in you because you're now dealing with true self and not illusionary alchemical self that has been placed on a journey of chasing its already lost light. FAFO. And you can go back many years, and I always say this is the king of shamans. This is my king of spirits. This is what's ruling. This is what's ruling over my spirit. What's ruling over my spirit? The diversity of the thought that has trapped me in six. 3 thoughts, 6 foundations, but your foundation are choices. That is the grand trauma. Choice is the grand trauma in this realm. So if I'm only trapped in the thought that keeps presenting choices, I'll never find me because there's so much to choose from. I talked about this yesterday in the reading I did yesterday. If you keep trying to find you in all of the choices, you will only find you in the experience of what you chose. But that's not you. That's the alchemical process of change. But that's not you. So this 3-6 FAFO, my experience with this character here was figure out who you are, or everything else will show you what it needs you to be. This is that field of diversity. If you're out here just trying to figure out who you are in this light, then you can find it. You'll figure out who you are in the light. Always blinded and always being the battery plugged in. Figure out who you were, the battery in the pack. This is you plugged in. And having thoughts about unplugging yourself in perception, unplugging yourself, 369 makes you feel like, holy shit, I've lost control. You're right. If you go back to the beginning of this, I told you this is about the 2 forms of control, that which taught you control, and then the other form is you that won't stop controlling yourself, the overseer force. You're scared to do something different. This is the originating system of FAFO. You'll get out here and try and find it. Why do I have so much desire to survive and scared of it, even if my body die biological? It's root chakra function. It's fight or flight. It's reptilian core response. You don't want to die but you're too scared to live. That's root chakra. You will need something to substantiate the amount of danger that your body has processed. Something else I talk about: traumatic memory, traumatic muscle memory. Even when nothing's going on, your body will seek to create something because holy shit, if you was here when I was talking about the monkeys, I don't know what the danger is. I just know that I'm supposed to process it. You never climbed the ladder to get the banana. You just know that that banana is a danger. And if I go for the banana, which is really yourself, if I go to find myself, then I might harm me in the process, if that's making sense to you. So you hit self preservation of not want to do anything outside of the Borg mentality. Resistance is futile. You don't want to think outside of the hive mind because you might start to be able to think for yourself. So that field of diversity where I'm gonna find me amidst others becomes the safest programming. Here is you processing the programming. Here is you trying to make sense on why the programming is the best thing. Another 9. Dominion, snake, knowledge. The Leviathan spell, keeping you sleep. The Leviathan spell is a purported spell in antiquity that says that you will keep yourself asleep by only subscribing to what we're telling you to know. The snake, the Leviathan, is knowledge. We will only tell you what we need you to know, and as long as you believe in what we need you to know, you'll stay safe. I don't have any purpose nor goal except existence and survival. That's how I'm learning electronics and coding, AI coding. But then that would be your purpose then. See, that would be your overseer function. You don't have anything for yourself, so you already submitted your energy into furthering the system. That is you plugged in. That is, my energy doesn't belong to me, so then I'm going to learn the system that already has told me not to learn myself, and I'll be better off if I learn the system that told me not to learn me because at least I'm learning it. That's called enslavement. That's how you make a slave a Christian. Sorry, didn't mean to go there, but it's the truth. If I don't learn anything about me, but I only learn what got me enslaved, I'm better off by learning what got me enslaved because at least it gives me an identity. Because you can learn coding. You can learn coding, but you're only using the formats of a system that has you encoded and in safe mode, so you feel safer about being in safe mode. You now have dominion, that 2, over yourself. 7 is self. I now have dominion over who I think I am. When the whole warning was, figure out who you are, I'll tell you what I need you to be. The monkey who never had the experience of going up the ladder, the monkey who never got wet, but is scared of the waters. Oops, the king of waters. The monkey that never got wet will fear the water, so the water is now its ruler. The king of waters. Who rules the waters? Knowledge. Resonance only. So I'm not telling you not to become a coder. I'm just telling you to not sell your energy into want to become more by selling your energy into something that has already got you feeling like you're not enough. Figure out why you're not enough for yourself and then decide on your movements. Figure out whether you need to move at all. But trying to learn AI so that you can figure out how to survive better, but that's a fear mind. You said there is no way around it except it. There is no escape. Escape from where? Remember, the perception of myself and separation was not an actuality. It just produced the light for me to get lost in. You trying to escape from the perception of escape. Make that make sense. Can you escape from where there was no escape? You'll stay lost. Bad judgment. Biological death is at best a quantitative term. It's a transition point. If you have been taught to hold on to too much value for biological life, then biological death becomes a trauma point. You understand that? So now being caught in that Reptilian core response. Root chakra, fight or flight. I'm just trying not to die. You said it. No escape, only the loop. You just trying not to die so that when you die, you'll be scared to live. And then when you do come back into life, you'll be trying not to die because you're scared not to die. And then when you die, you'll be scared to live. And you're just going to keep on going in that loop. The whole problem was you gave too much value for the experience. You plugged in. You plugged in. You plugged into the thought. And now the thought is the only thing you see. The thought is the only thing you love. The thought already told you, value me more than you value yourself, for I am the truth, the way, and the light. And now you're out here living in your dark. Oh, I'm gonna eat. Fuck y'all on that one. My wife cooking. That is good. I won't be over here much longer because I'm gonna go eat. But you understand what I'm saying? If the only thing you know how to communicate with is the cycle that has you under control, are you not already the second stage that I'm talking about? Let me teach you who I want you to be, and then you'll have dominion over that answer. I will teach you. God, we just saw that in the store. I will teach you how to behave better for me. That when you get out here, you'll behave better for me that you don't even know how to behave for yourself. Just old and bitter. I start to slowly see patterns in everything, how human works and world, and I now don't have any emotion now except preparation for preservation of my consciousness. That's still root chakra. Your whole last part of that sentence is I still need to prepare not to lose me. So you're only trying to make sure you don't lose you to where you never were you. If you start to see the pattern and that the human works is based off of emotion, getting you to energetically invest in the moving, your whole counterpoint is I got to find a way to make sure I don't move, which means you've already been moved. I have to sit still and understand what is the value of the emotion. You know what? That hurt my feelings. I might want to be angry, but why? Negation. Negation, awareness before creation of the experience, knowledge. Versus the format that you just said, the knowledge that something might take me out means that I need to make sure I need to figure out how to stay safe, which means you're going to have a safe space for what has you in danger as you try and create an even safer space for how to keep yourself safe. That's a whole fucking battlefield. That is a whole battlefield. You cannot simultaneously prepare and prevent. Hell, prevent and prepare for war. You cannot simultaneously prepare and prevent and prepare for war. And that's what you just said. And again, I am not trying to be funny. We're having a grown-up discussion, so please don't take any of this as offense or me being an asshole. I am just telling you my truth, my perspective. Your statement is that you see everybody else out here basically emotionally automaton in it, and you're going to become one to make sure you stay safe. Don't try and hide from your emotions. Don't try and overprocess them. Figure out why. That's where a lot of people get messed up. You understand that you're emotional, and then you want to find quantitative value for the emotions. And then when that don't meet to an end, now you stay emotional as you're trying to figure out how to get out of the emotions. And the whole thing is you never learn how to be still. Figure out why you're moving with the emotions. No secrecy to what, though? I mean, think about it in the common sense to where if I whisper in your ear and then you whisper in 10 other people's ear, the whole message got lost. So secrecy, again, is another finite term of conditionalism. Secret what? What I think is a secret by the time I get through whispering to 10 people ain't going to be a secret no more because something got mistranslated in information. That is what I call the Babel spell. And it's not just me, but that's the Tower of Babel spell. You don't understand nothing unless it tickles the right receptors in your brain that are fixed and finite for you. The same way with me. I will only gravitate towards things that hit the boxes in my awareness. You will only hit the things that fit the boxes in your awareness. The danger is a lot of people don't have awareness, they just have conscious. So I only fit and fix into the things that make my conscious feel safe, when the whole thing was your conscious is already in danger. You're only going to communicate what makes you think you see you. That is why you could sit there and you could have a conversation with a Christian. The only thing they're going to hear is that what fixed and finite shows them safety when what they already believe. An atheist ain't going to believe nothing about anything except for what they believe. An animist, a pagan, whatever, a Muslim. Nobody wants to hear anything outside of what they've already told themselves is safe. Five monkey experiment. You don't want to lose your trauma. And unfortunately, in this current realm, your trauma is your safety. 12 over 6. The ritual is my trauma. So much that my trauma keeps me healed as long as I keep it safe. That's parasitic existence. You can call it symbiosis as much as you want to. Well, there's a pilot fish attached to a shark, and the shark feeds the pilot fish, and the pilot fish cleans the shark. But the pilot fish is attached to the shark and it just bites onto it a little bit, but it's not harmful. Holy shit, that worm in my mind keep telling me to go get sugar, but the sugar tastes good, so it ain't harmful. Conditionalism. You just pretending that it ain't killing you, but you're getting ever so closer to death. Big Mama, why you can't see? Too many bags of sugar, baby. I only communicated with what I got taught. And I don't want to know anything different. I don't want to know about you anything. All I need is my Jesus. They won't. I'm not saying that. There are some people who can think outside of what they've been taught. The Freudian system, the current psychological system, God bless them, whichever God they believe in. But they think from a box. And it only can be applied so much. The problem is, in what you say is you think you need to find people like you. There will be nobody like you. You can find somebody who thinks like themselves, that allows you the safe space to think like yourself, so that you can start making assessments for why the way you think is or is not safe. But if you try and find somebody to think like you and you're under some form of psychosis, and you run into somebody else is under another form of psychosis, you got two psychosis ridden motherfuckers. And I'm not telling that you're under psychosis, but I am telling you we all are under a psychosis. So if you want to find a safe space where people lie about, I need to find my tribe. So you mean you lie to yourself and you want somebody to lie to you as they lie to themselves too. You really safe. Five monkey experiment. None of you motherfuckers want the banana. You just don't want to get wet. You don't need to find somebody who think like you. And one thing that I'm saying from my experience is you have to be fine when nobody thinks like you. You have to understand that my thought processes are unique to me to give me the best chance to have the maximum value for my experience. I can offer information, but when people don't take it, all I can do is let your life tell your tale. But you do. Humor me. You say I don't have anything except survival existence for me. Everything is secondary. Why is that? You do have, but here's your current thing. You say you only know how to exist from survival mode. You don't see the God in you. This ain't got nothing to do with no imaginary gray-haired motherfucker who rapes women. Sorry. This ain't got nothing to do with God. This is God. 3, 4. The thoughts that form creation. You have boxed yourself into a thought form that told you, I'm not safe. It is selfish of you not to understand that God, generator, operator, destroyer, is you. You have generated a thought that told yourself, I can only survive. You are operating through that thought that says, I can only survive. And the only thing you're disseminating your energy into is your own dispersal. That is destruction. You are trying to carry out seeing yourself in separation by having an experience that requires you to separate. But yet you are still whole. You just think with holes. You understand that? You are whole, WHOLE. You are the manifester. The only thing burning you is you. The king of fire. The only thing burning you is you. The only thing ordering the fire is you. 2 plus 4, 6. The original trauma is you. But you keep ordering the systematic programming that says survive. That's Control Alt Delete. That's safe mode. You're only operating at 50 to 60%. So you keep sponsoring your 50 to 60%, and this is what it keep producing. The cycles of death. The sun card in reverse. The sun card in reverse. You keep taking all your healing and giving it to what's running you across the journey. Place holding. You're the 0. But you're trying to go through cycles 1 to 9 to make it to the end. But the only thing at the end was what was at the beginning. The fool. The fool that gives all its potential to go on a journey just to make it to its highest vibration will only be the fool at the end that lost all its power. You keep losing your power and you keep cycles of death because you only sponsor survival, not living. The state of survival is already more conducive to death than it is to living. Don't believe me? Get this sorry ass government to open the tapes on all these fucking people they keep abducting. Sorry, probably get banned for that one. But here's the problem. You said, I question my thoughts. Like, are they mine or not? And where did they come in the origin? Don't question them. Take your rights as the thinker. The worst thing you can do is question your thoughts, because the only way you question your thoughts is by doing what? Producing more thoughts. So you're only populating the battlefield, waiting to get out of the war. Question the validity of your rights as the thinker, and then watch the thoughts run away. Watch the thoughts start to hit different levels of population, the diversity field. Watch how many thoughts just don't hold any weight anymore when I see myself as the thinker. I know who I am and I know what these thoughts want me to be, but if I keep paying attention to them, I become it. I know my rights as the thinker. So now these thoughts have to show me good enough reason to engage. Now I'm engaged with that thought and now I need to cancel that thought because holy shit, dispersal. You God, all right. You have generated and operated through a field that already said, give me your power. So don't question where the thoughts come from. Question your rights as a thinker. Your rights as a thinker, because thoughts have a source. My rights as a thinker says that they don't have space until I give up my energy. Here's your rights as a thinker. You've already enslaved yourself. Remember I told you this? The ritual was your trauma, that you just want dominion over what you know. But what you know has already taken dominion over you. It's the parasite. It wants your sugar. The thoughts are your sugar. Only the thoughts want more sugar because they're cannibalistic. The thoughts want you to create more thoughts so that the bigger thought can eat the other thoughts. And holy shit, there's no room for the thinker. But there's no need for the thinker because the thinker's already dead. Take your time with that one. Exactly what I just warned you not to do. I split my thoughts for seconds before it comes. Guess what? Where there was 1 is now 50. I asked myself, what's the validity of the thought before I even address the thought? And then if for some reason, some sickness in me says that that thought is valid, then I ask that thought, as the thinker, where are you taking me? And if it gives me a deceptive answer, and this is all within my own head, if it's giving me a deceptive answer, then no, it's trickery. It's only traumatic muscle memory of me wanting to put myself further in a separation where I've already been granted the rights of stillness and wholeness. Self-sabotage. Splitting the thought only makes more rooms for you to keep thinking. Bye-bye stillness. Again, and I'm not trying to be funny, you don't want the banana. You just don't want to get wet. So, enslavement, death, manifestation, and too selfish to be God. Because you've only communicated with what's got you hidden, because you think it will show you dominion over you, but it's only showing you with no dominion over yourself, because you are here, there, and everywhere. Don't split yourself. Hold yourself together. hold yourself together and hold yourself accountable for why I can't be pulled apart. Not for why things are trying to pull me apart, but for why I can't get pulled apart. Because the minute you keep challenging what's trying to pull you apart, you just created a war. That's all it wants is your attention. Because your attention creates intention. And from there, you can kiss the baby. So, resonance only. Real quick before I get out of here, like I said, 12-6, the ritual is keeping you traumatized because the traumas now teach you to traumatize yourself. The traumas, the original ritual itself, taking your free will. Holy shit's the zero. The ritual was fooling you into using your energy freely to subdue yourself. Why? Because now whatever I subdue myself to now becomes greater than me because I lost the grandness of myself. Holy shit, the zero done lined up behind something. What is the zero lined up behind? Whatever's guiding it. Holy shit. 25. You connected to what is ever moving you. Whatever is moving me is guiding me. But whatever is guiding me now has my energy. Why? Because I submitted my free will. If I keep splitting myself in the intentions of finding myself, how many me are there? Real question. If you fragment yourself to find yourself in wholeness, which one of the motherfuckers are you? The answer is none. But some of y'all don't get that. Sit your punk ass down and be still and be whole and figure out what is demanding for you to be in pieces and then do everything that you can to not give your energy to it by not pulling yourself apart. That's the ritual. Stop letting the ritual find you less than you are and trying to find your grandness from something that you lie to yourself about being greater. Let me get out of here. When I'm alone in the room, I think about when I'm alone in the room. I thought you was finna start the Ghetto Boys. When I'm alone in a room, I think about it. Do other people or the world outside even exist if I don't observe? Yes and no. Or everything just a memory? No. Memory is already a substantiated point of experience. But in a sense, I have to be honest with you from my perspective and say yes. Because time is not linear. You can have the memory of something before you even done it. Because the conscious you doesn't know that you already attained the event. If that makes sense. So yes and no, but what's the validity? You have to stop. My personal perspective is you have to stop trying to find so much value in giving yourself a denotation, conscious being, awareness, and all this other stuff. Just be whole. Because if you start trying to measure the ineptitude of others versus the perceived grandness of yourself, you'll stay in an ego battle. Because you'll never see enough in them, and you'll always not see enough in yourself because you've seen too much of yourself that you don't understand. So just sit your punk ass down. And this is something I say, so don't get offended. Sit your punk ass down and be still. And stop trying to find the value in shit that has shown you that you should value it less because it is only exchanging and changing the value of you. Stop giving your energy to the circus. You'll end up the monkey and not the one getting the banana. Be the banana. Wholeness.